She was standing right there when I came out of the house, arms crossed, lips tight, that smug look only an HOA Karen could wear. My gate chain was hanging loose, cut clean through. My garage lock was gone too. And then, I saw it, my black Jeep was missing. My heart dropped. That wasn't just any Jeep, it was property of the county police task force. I ran up to her, still holding my phone. "Where's my vehicle, Karen?" I asked, trying to keep calm. She didn't even blink. "It's been towed," she said proudly, like she'd just done the world a favor. Vehicles like that aren't allowed in this community. Too aggressive looking. I froze for a second. "You towed a police task force Jeep?" I asked, my voice rising. "It doesn't matter who it belongs to," she snapped, waving a clipboard she made herself. "I run this neighborhood." That's when I noticed something. Her so-called wallpaper had no signature, no seal, just her handwriting. She'd done it herself. My hands clenched. The neighbors were watching from across the street, pretending not to. And she loved it, standing there like she owned the place. "You really don't know what you just did," I said quietly. She smirked. "Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing." But she didn't. Not even close. I walked back inside, jaw tight, trying not to lose it. My wife was in the kitchen, still in her work uniform, the dark blue shirt with the badge she usually kept covered. She saw my face before I said a word. "What happened?" she asked. "Karen cut the lock. Jeep's gone," I said flatly. Her eyes narrowed. "She did what?" I nodded toward the window. "Claims it violated WA rules." My wife exhaled slowly, the way she does when she's about to lose her patience but tries not to. "That Jeep isn't even registered under your name," she said. I looked at her, and for a second, we both went silent. Karen had no idea. That vehicle belonged to the county's undercover task force. My wife wasn't just any deputy, she trained the officers who drove it. Every camera, every radio inside was connected to the sheriff's department. She picked up her phone and dialed. "Dispatch, this is 12 Bravo, she said calmly. "Need a trace on a stolen tactical Jeep, license." Before she could finish, we heard the sound of someone shouting outside. "Karen again. If you don't remove the rest of your junk by tonight, I'll call my police." My wife looked at me and smiled, not the nice kind. "Her police, huh?" she whispered. Then she put her badge on her belt. "You stay here," she said, stepping outside. "Let's see how far she wants to go." The neighbors started peeking out again. Phones came up. Karen stood in the middle of the street, acting like she was leading a parade. She didn't notice the unmarked cruiser turning the corner. And that's when things began to turn. The unmarked cruiser rolled to a slow stop beside Karen. Two officers stepped out, one of them holding a tablet. They looked calm, too calm. Karen, of course, thought they were there for her. "Oh, finally," she said, marching toward them. "I called earlier. These people are breaking WA regulations. He's got illegal vehicles, trespassing equipment." The taller officer cut her off gently. "Ma'am, can we see some ID?" "Why?" she asked, offended already. "For the report," he said, still polite. My wife stood a few feet back, arms crossed, badge gleaming under the sun. Karen turned and froze. "Wait. Why are you wearing that?" she snapped. My wife smiled. "Because I am the sheriff, Karen." For a second, everything went quiet. Even the kids on their bikes stopped. Karen blinked, confused, her mouth slightly open. "You're lying," she muttered. "The sheriff wouldn't live here." "Oh, she does," said the other officer, checking his tablet. "And the Jeep you had towed was part of an active task force. Congratulations, you just tampered with police property." Karen's face drained of color. No, that can't be, there must be some mistake." The officer raised an eyebrow. "We have GPS logs, dashcam footage, and your neighbor's video showing you cutting the lock." My wife took a step closer, calm but firm. "You said you'd call your police, right? Well, these are mine." Karen's hands trembled. She tried to laugh it off, but it came out shaky. I didn't know. That's the thing about fake authority," my wife said quietly. "It disappears when the real one shows up." And that was the moment Karen realized, she wasn't running this neighborhood anymore. Karen's voice cracked as she tried to defend herself. "I was just doing my job as WA president," she yelled, waving her fake clipboard like a shield. But the officers had already started making calls to the impound yard. One of them looked at my wife. "Ma'am, the Jeep's confirmed at Westline Tow Facility. They logged it under unauthorized removal." My wife nodded. "Good. Secure it and pull the footage from the dashcam before anyone touches it. Karen stepped closer, desperate now. You can't just take over. This neighborhood follows my rules. I finally spoke. You cut my lock, stole my vehicle, and humiliated me in front of my neighbors. And you think you're the victim? Her voice dropped to a whisper. You people think you can do whatever you want. That hit differently. The way she said you people made a few neighbors shift uncomfortably. One woman across the street pulled out her phone and started recording. The crowd was growing, whispering, watching. Then one of the officers announced something that silenced everyone. We just got word, the Jeep's missing from the impound lot. My wife's expression hardened instantly. What do you mean missing? They said a woman showed up with paperwork claiming to be from the WA and demanded it be released. She left 10 minutes ago. Karen's face went pale. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. I didn't. My wife's tone turned cold. You filed fake papers to tow a police vehicle, and now it's gone. That's theft of government property. Karen started shaking her head violently. No, I swear I didn't take it. I just signed a few forms. The officer spoke into his radio, calling for backup. The street that was once quiet was now swarming with police cars. Red and blue lights bounced off every window. Karen took a step back, whispering to herself, this can't be happening. But it was. And she was standing in the middle of her own downfall, and everyone was watching. The air turned heavy with sirens echoing down the street. Karen stood frozen, clutching her clipboard like it could somehow protect her from what was coming. My wife stepped forward, calm as ever, her voice steady but sharp. Karen, she said, I'm going to give you one last chance. Tell us where that Jeep went. Karen shook her head. I told you, I don't know. Someone from the tow company said they'd handle it. Name. My wife interrupted. Karen blinked fast. I don't remember. He had a vest, said he was with county enforcement. The officer's radio crackled again. Sheriff, be advised, the Jeep just showed up at the back lot of a private towing yard. It's been stripped of its equipment. My wife's jaw clenched. That vehicle had 2 body cams, encrypted radios, and task force intel. She turned to Karen slowly. You didn't just break a rule. You compromised a police operation. Karen's fake confidence shattered completely. I swear, I didn't know. It was just a car. My wife cut her off, voice colder now. That car was used to take down drug traffickers last week. You just helped them. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Karen's eyes darted around, searching for sympathy, but all she saw were phones recording her every word. Then my phone buzzed. It was the feed from the Jeep's dashcam, the one connected to cloud storage. I tapped play. On the screen, clear as daylight, Karen was standing next to a man in a yellow vest, handing him cash. My wife turned the phone toward her. That you, Karen? Her knees nearly buckled. No, I didn't, that's edited. She stammered. The officer looked straight at her. Ma'am, you just bought yourself a felony. The crowd went silent. The fake WA president who ruled the block was now cornered by her own lies. And my wife, standing tall in her uniform, simply said, let's finish this the right way. Karen's world was collapsing, and she knew it. The officers moved in closer, but my wife lifted a hand, stopping them. Not yet, she said quietly. Her eyes stayed locked on Karen's trembling face. We're doing this by the book. One of the neighbors, the same one who'd been recording, spoke up. So all this time, she's been lying. She fined me for planting a mailbox too close to the road. Another voice joined in. She threatened to evict my brother because his truck had mud on the tires. Karen turned around, desperate now. They're all exaggerating. I just tried to keep order. My wife stepped forward. You created your own fake WA, Karen. You forged signatures, printed false notices, and stole property. You called fake cops and broke real laws. Her words hit like thunder. The crowd murmured louder. Someone even clapped once before going silent again. Then, my wife nodded to the officer beside her. Patch the feed to the sheriff's office. I want the community to see this live. Within seconds, the footage from the Jeep's dashcam appeared on a nearby patrol car's screen, big enough for everyone to see. The video showed Karen cutting the lock, laughing, and saying, he won't be needing this anymore. People gasped. Some cursed under their breath. Karen's face twisted in panic. That's private. You can't show that. My wife looked at her calmly. That's evidence, not privacy. Then she turned to the crowd. Every person here who was threatened, fined, or harassed under her fake WA, step forward. You'll each give a statement. For the first time, Karen looked small, really small. The woman who once barked orders at everyone was now surrounded by people she had controlled for years. I watched her eyes dart around, realizing there was no one left to defend her. Even her so-called WA board members had quietly stepped back into the crowd. And then my wife said it, the line that everyone would remember later when the video went viral. Greater than, you spent years acting like you were the law. Today, the law finally showed up. The crowd erupted. Phones flashed. Karen's knees gave out. And for the first time, she didn't have a single rule left to hide behind.